All right, Lob, go ahead and count me in.
We're already live.
All right. Shalom, Israel.
Shalom.
How's everybody doing? All right, beautiful, beautiful. All right, so let's get into it. Get 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 28 to 29. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 28, 29.
1 Corinthians 11, verse 28. But let a man examine himself.
But let a man do what?
Examine himself.
So the first thing is let a man examine himself. Read.
And so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup.
So in the spirit, what feast, Most High willing, will all of us be keeping? Passover, right? So now, this is pertaining unto that feast. That one of the things you have to do is make sure you're mentally, spiritually, as well as physically, according to ordinances, prepared to keep it. A lot of times we focus so much on the physical that we lose track and we lose sight of the spiritual. Because the feast isn't something to be taken lightly. A lot of times we just look forward to, getting lamb, eating the bitter herb, things of that nature, and then the turn up. But yet and still, the day has so much more of a greater significance and value behind it. So much so to where if you're not right, most I said in the scriptures say, look, you got to make sure you get right. Because remembering everything the Passover symbolized, everything it stood for was our deliverance. But that deliverance and judgment at the same time upon all those who oppose the Most High, even of our own people. Those are things we got to look at. So now, read on.
For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily.
Eateth what?
He that eateth and drinketh unworthily.
Unworthily, read.
Eateth and drinketh damnation to himself.
You eateth and you drinketh damnation to yourself. If you ain't right with the Most High, how then can you partake of Christ's sacrifice? You got to really think about that. His sacrifice was so that you could get it right. What good is it if you partake of it when you're doing wrong? When you ain't right with your brother, when you ain't right at home, when you ain't right with your sister, your family, so on and so forth. All you're doing is casting stones upon your own head. Read on.
Not discerning the Lord's body.
Not what?
Discerning the Lord's body.
Not discerning the Lord's body. You're not being in a place to where you're locking in and seeing, you know what? The significance behind it all, where I'm really at. You start doing what's called going through the motions. Or you start looking at things that aren't as relevant. The turn up isn't as relevant. I said again, the turn up isn't as relevant. That's the extra that we get to enjoy. Because when the time came and when they kept that Passover, there wasn't no turn up. They had to eat it in haste. They had to skip the turn up. Now, that's something that is, once again, beautiful because it brings us together. We get to celebrate, and I'll get more into that too. But the celebration comes when you're celebrating in righteousness, not in iniquity. So now, I want you to go ahead and get 2 Corinthians 13, 5 through 8. 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5 through 8.
2 Corinthians 13 and 5. Examine yourself.
So once again, you keep seeing that word, examine yourself. Examine yourself. Because when you examine, someone get definition. Let's look up definition of examine. Because it's a word that you keep seeing. Obviously, the Most High is trying to tell us something. Whoever got it, we can read it.
Examine. Inspect someone or something.
Now it says to inspect. When you inspect something, how many, heard of the health inspector? Come out. It ain't a light thing. I'm scrutinizing everything you got going on from the top to bottom. I'm scrutinizing these things. Read on.
Inspect something or someone in detail to determine.
In what?
In detail.
In detail. To determine what?
To determine their nature or condition.
To determine their nature or condition. What is your nature? Is it kind? or is it vengeful? Is it merciful or vindictive? What is your nature? How would you define those things? Any other good ones?
To investigate thoroughly.
To investigate thoroughly. That means you're taking your time and you're looking at all the things that make up what, in this case, you are. Where is my level of charity? How have I been? Where's my level of sacrifice? Where's my level of commitment? Where's my level of faith? So on and so forth. Where's my level of forgiveness? And the list goes on. But if you aren't taking time to look at those things, it can easily fly right over your head. So many things you can miss through just going through the motions and focusing on not necessarily, I wouldn't just say superficial things, but the things of lesser significance than the greater things concerning the day. The things of lesser significance is the jokes we just going to be talking about. The dancing. Those are all the things of lesser significance, which I'll bring out more. With the things of greater significance, we just easily bypass. Because those are things we don't like to deal with. We don't like to examine ourselves, and because we lack the examination of ourselves, we get so offended when someone else takes it upon themselves to help us out. Of course you're going to get offended when someone tries to correct you because you don't even like correcting your damn self. So since you haven't stopped and recognized your own faults and admitted them and sought correction, it becomes so much more unbearable when someone else brings those things before you. Make sense? God. All right, beautiful. Stay with me. All right, from there, go ahead.
I got another one that's good. To subject to legal inquisition, put the question in regard to conduct or to knowledge of facts to interrogate.
So hold on, it said, read that first one.
To subject to legal inquisition.
To subject to legal inquisition. When you look at this book, this collection of books, this codex, known as the Bible, this is legal. This is the law. This is what's going to let you know, hey, look, according to this, you're out of pocket. Right. According to this, you're not faithful. According to this, you're slothful. But yet and still, when someone tells you, hey, according to the Most High, this is what you're doing, according to His word, this is what you're doing, and try to correct you on it, you somehow get all offended. Right. And want to hear nothing more what they have to say. You can chime in any time the Spirit hits you. Yeah. So that's how we get. Am I lying? We all get like that from time to time, but you have to examine yourself and say, you know what? Damn, I didn't deal with that the best. You know what, man? I wasn't in a place to hear that at the time, but man, thank you for them words. You know, I didn't, because a lot of time when we heat it, we don't see it. Because I'm locked into how I feel right now. Nah, man, I don't give a damn what he say. Nah, all my life, ain't no man gonna tell me what to do. We be like that. Well, she should have came at me a better way. I didn't like her attitude. Well, look at yours. We be the first one to cast a stone saying someone ain't humble when we ain't being humble ourselves. That'd be hypocritical of us. But now, yet and still, and from there, let's go back to 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and continue with verse 5. Because we were just getting all on examine.
Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith.
Now examine yourself whether you even be in the faith. That's something you have to scrutinize. Whether you even be in the faith. What is keeping the faith? Know a good example? Hold that. Let's get Hebrews. Actually, I'm sorry. Let's get James. I want to get James chapter 2. And I want to start with verse 19 and reading 19 on down to 24.
James 2, verse 19. Thou believest that there is one power. Thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble.
So now it's saying, look, thou believest that there is a creator. You believe that there is a power. So you do well in that. That's a good thing. But yet and still, do not also the devils, Satan himself? So what then are you doing? Because read on.
But wilt thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead?
So you being in the faith is going to be predicated upon your works. You can say, I'm an Israelite all day. But what saith thou concerning the law and your application of it? You can say, man, I've been coming to class 6 months, 6 years, whatever it is. None of that matters if you haven't been applying yourself according to the word of the Most High. It's all in vain. Read on.
Was not Abraham our father justified by works?
Justified by what?
By works.
Read.
When he had offered Isaac his son upon the altar? Seest thou how faith wrought with his works?
Wrought with what?
His works.
Faith was wrought together with his word. They go hand in hand. I cannot say that I believe in the Most High, but yet and still, when something comes around of need for my brother or my sister, I turn away my hand. I cannot say I have faith in the Most High, because we say, all those bootleg Christianity sayings, that are out there, we always say, if it be of God, and, things. Well, once again, how come when it comes down to situations, we don't apply that same reasoning? Abraham did. He said, look, if it be of the Most High, and got to sacrifice my son, it is what it is. If not, then it won't happen. Most High, he'll find another way. But nevertheless, I'm rolling with the Most High. But yet and still, when you read so many scriptures and so many different places where if it be of the Most High, and we say, hey, look, it's in God's hands, but yet and still we become so frantic. Exhibit A. We be saying, well, look, at the end of the day, if it's meant for you to get another wife, hey, sure, you'll get one, brother. But as soon as the sister come into class, you be on it. Don't even give her time to learn. At the end of the day, let her learn. Because guess what? Better to give it time than to rush in too soon and realize that, hey, maybe I should have waited. Maybe she wasn't for me. And now you stuck in a situation. If you got the faith to where, hey, it be of the Most High, well, guess what? You don't got to worry about your husband getting another wife because it be the Most High. What can you do against it? If you're a woman worried about it, it's of the Most High, right? But you still get frantic. You see? So where then is your faith? Very little. Then you look at other situations when it comes down to where, look, at the end of the day, the Most High always comes first in everything, right? But yet and still, when it comes down to his laws, why are there such an iffy thing for some people when it comes down to their family? They start trimming their ways to seek love. Start tucking in fringes. Start wearing shirts over the fringes. Start acting like, hey, I can't keep the feet of Big Mama or I got to go. Where's your faith? All of these things, you have to examine and scrutinize yourself to see where are you at when it concerns your salvation with the Most High. Read on.
Seest thou how faith wrought with his works, and by works was faith made perfect?
See that? They go hand in hand. Read on.
And the scripture was fulfilled, which saith, Abraham believed Yahweh, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness, and he was called the friend of the Most High.
See that everyone wants to be called the friend of the Most High, but you don't want to do what friends do. See, a lot of us, we all be in a place to where if we have a friend who is a cheerful giver, who we know got our backs, everybody wants to be a friend of the one who gives good gifts. I want to be close to that person. Why? Because they're a friend with benefits. Because there's benefits to being closer to them because they only give out good things. Every time we out, he got extra juice, extra water. Every time something come up, he always got to give me a gift, even if I don't got it. A lot of people like being in a situation like that because it comes with benefits. It comes with perks. But yet and still, how many people think to do good unto that friend? That's the big thing. That's that aha moment. Because a lot of times we want someone to be good unto us, but we don't really have too much concern to be good unto them. As long as they doing good unto us, we all right. We just doing just peachy. A lot of time when they start asking for things in return, you're asking for too much. But it wasn't too much for all the stuff they was giving out without asking anything. Not saying that's you, but hey, that's some of our people. And even some of you. So you got to, once again, this is all self-examination. You got to see word go out. You see, damn, that do apply to me. I got to fix that. That's it. So it'll be thousands of people watching these videos, hundreds, and I don't know everybody's situation, but I know Israel. So that's just it. So now, from there, continue reading. Oh, actually, yeah, verse 24.
Ye see then how that by works a man is justified.
That by what?
By works a man is justified.
Read.
And not by faith only.
And not by faith only. Because you have to prove yourself and prove yourself to the Most High. Get Sirach 19 and 1.
Still holding Corinthians?
Nah, you can let that go. We're going to come back to it later. Let's get Sirach chapter 19 and verse 1.
Sirach 19:1. A laboring man that is given to drunkenness shall not be rich, and he that contemneth small things shall fall by little and little.
So now, it says, he that contempt, let's get that definition. Because all these words go right over our head. When you look at contempt, C-O-N-T-E-M-N, contempt or contempt, what are you looking at? Because it says, he that contemneth, was it little things or small things?
Small things shall fall by little and little.
So he that contemneth small things shall fall by little and little. What does it mean to contemn it? Because that word goes right over our heads. You have a definition? Let's get it.
To treat or regard with disdain, scorn, or contempt.
To treat or regard as disdain, scorn, or what?
Contempt.
Or contempt. It starts with the little things. We're going to get into some of those little things, like a little bit I was mentioning, because all these little things end up becoming bigger things that when you don't correct them, that leaven builds up. Part of why we got to remove that leaven, right? Because all this plays in a part. This is where the significance of the feast starts really coming in and tying in, because the Most High is trying to show you these little infractions add up. Start a little fire over here, little fire over there, little fire over there. You be like, it's just a little bit, but it grows if not put out. And it starts to grow and become bigger, especially because all you're doing is feeding it if you don't deal with it. You let it grow in the background. Next thing you know, it's a much bigger problem. But yet and still, you rationalize it because, well, look at all the forest ahead of me. It's not that big compared to all the forest in front of me. But yet and still, look at all the damage it's doing. So we try to justify our areas where we lack by saying all these areas are better. If I am failing as a husband, I cannot make up for it just because I say, well, I'm succeeding as a friend unto someone else. If I'm failing as a father, I cannot say, well, I make up for it because, well, I'm a good leader over here. That doesn't change the fact that you're failing over here. It just means you're trying to find an excuse to justify why you shouldn't have to deal with what's over here. And then say, well, don't worry about that. Just look over here. You ever see somebody like that? What's all that? Excuse me, don't even worry about that. If you would just look over here, we want to show you this. People, we do that. We all done it before, you know? And those are things we got to fix. And those are things that we're shoot, you know? Like you said, man, done it before. But that's other people, they've done it before and they still doing it. And they got to change. Because those are all things the Most High is looking at. Because when you partaking in this feast, you got to look at everything it is I'm partaking in it where, hey, am I right? Let me get right. Let me put off that old man. Because these are things that are going on my report card. And I want to make sure I don't flunk. Because ain't no flunking on this time. We be acting like we got like a few other lifetimes to get it right with some of us. It's like, nah, this is it. This is your grand finale. This ain't this ain't training day. Shoot, this is game time. This is the time to get it right. So now, when you start looking at all these little things and you don't deal with them, they add up, become bigger things. So now we're going to deal with a few. Get Leviticus 19 and 15.
Book of Leviticus 19, verse 15. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment.
So Most High said, look, you shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Con? So now we read that, but yet and still, many do unrighteousness in judgment. Read on.
Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the persons of the mighty, but in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor.
So now, here's the thing. Because we read this, but yet and still, we don't apply it, many of us. We don't even look at how these things come into play in our day-to-day lives. It's like reading the scriptures, and you know what a lot of times we think? We think formal judgment. We think, oh, well, you know, someone committed adultery, and yeah, you can't pacify that. That's how we be thinking of. That's be how our minds work a lot of times we read the scriptures. We don't look at day-to-day situations. We don't look at the time where you're out with your friends and all of a sudden, it could be where there are a couple of things, you just out with some of your friends and you observe, you just over your friend's house. And you observe your friend, and this is one dynamic, your sister. You observe your sister disrespecting her husband and you don't say nothing to her about it. That's respect to her persons. You just observe her being disrespectful to her husband out of pocket. Y'all know when being out of pocket. And you don't say nothing to her. And that's supposed to be your friend. That's respect to her persons. Because you chose to hide judgment because I don't want to ruffle feathers. I don't want to say nothing. You're an eyewitness to the situation. You're in that situation. You're there. And you know your friend was out of line. It's your duty to say something. That's your friend. You're close to that person. You right there. You're a witness. Those are still judgments because there's still offenses being done according to the law. Same thing. Some of you growing up, you've even seen some of your friends disrespect their parents. You don't say nothing. That's being a respecter of persons. You seen your homeboy disrespect his mama. You don't just let that fly, hey, bro, that ain't cool. You disrespect her again, I'm going to disrespect you. Like that. But we roll along with stuff because we don't like to ruffle feathers. That ain't how the Most High roll. Better read Ezekiel chapter 3. That ain't how the Most High roll. He holds us to a higher standard. Because you know what? That's the same reason why we're so lawless today, because don't nobody say nothing to nobody. In the Most High, and I got to get the scripture. Maybe IQ may know where it's at. But I think sometimes IQ brand, sometimes T. But that he's holding the men as well as the aged responsible. Because it was the older generation that was supposed to get it right, to teach the younger generation, to get them in line. Each one teach one. But yet and still, let things slide. And that's only allowed us to get progressively worse as a people. Because we always want to let things slide instead of dealing with it and nipping it in the bud. Now, let's go ahead and get Deuteronomy 13 and 6. Because when you see, there are levels to the responsibility, especially when you're dealing with your family. Read Deuteronomy 13 and 6.
Deuteronomy 13, verse 6. If thy brother, the son of thy mother, or thy son, or thy daughter, or the wife of thy bosom, or thy friend, which is, excuse me.
Go ahead, yeah.
Which is as thine own soul.
Which is as thine own soul. Now this goes into a situation dealing with, hey, if they be caught up in idolatry, but I'm just bringing out in a sense to where most are saying, well, look, if these are the people to where, hey, if you see that you close, you right in on the situation. That's your brother, that's your sister, that's your friend. You're supposed to be the first one right there to address it. It shouldn't take for someone outside that to address it. It's like, nah, that's my homeboy. He had I got this first and foremost. What the hell you doing? Acting a fool. You supposed to be the first one right there. It's like, oh yeah, I should be able to say, oh yeah. Man, that's Live Hope. I know Live got it. Live. He should be like, huh? What? Oh. Now he should be like, yeah, man, my bad. Let me go. This would be your first duty. Why do you think it's like, shoot, someone having something happen? Hey, what's up with your boy, man? I don't know, man. Am I my brother's keeper? That's how we be. What's up with your sister? I don't know. Am I her keeper? That's how we be. It's like, shoot, yeah. Yeah, according to Most High, yeah. So I'm asking you, what's up? It's like, well, shoot, man. It's been a while since I talked, man. You got to hit them up. You know, just it's been a while, you know, so I ain't been doing my due diligence right now. Call it how it is. Because now, get Proverbs 6, 16 and 19.
I got one precept when you're done.
Come on. Now, Proverbs chapter 6, verse 16 to 19. Actually, we just get 16 and then jump down to 19.
Proverbs 6, verse 16. Mm-hmm. These things doth the Lord hate.
So these 16 doth the Lord hate. Read.
Yea, 7 are an abomination unto him.
Right, so now jump down to verse 19.
A false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren.
Now, there be many that be doing that. Sowing discord among brethren. And there's different ways Israel be unique at throwing shade. You know, a lot of times we like to, we be so unique, boy. We think that we doing all right. One of the biggest ways we on social media. Social media be a big way a lot of people be sowing discord. You be up there, people be typing away, you be reading messages. Yeah, man, don't you hate it when, people say they real but be fake? Knowing damn well there's a situation that recently happened, and a person who's looking at that is going to look at that and read that and be like, they talking about me. Right. And here it is, it's like, look, at the end of the day, those are those little things. The little things you do to where you believe it's good and it's fine because I didn't directly go to so-and-so and be like, man, you see how so-and-so be doing this, man? And you know, damn, that ain't right, man. You know, so you should. And it's like, look, did you go to that person? Did you talk to him, see what's up? Because at the end of the day, that becomes a situation in a zone to where it becomes more personalized to, okay, who you dealing with, what's going on? It's not, you try to make it seem like it's more general, when 9 times out of 10 is or do it ain't general. It's because you talking about brother so-and-so or sister so-and-so or something happened, and they know, and they're going to read it and be like, you talking about me? Or they talking about me, here it is, and then feelings go back and forth. It happens often. People do most of their venting online in this day and age. Most of their venting is done online. You can know as soon as someone has a problem in their household, just go look on their Facebook page. I promise you. Brothers and sisters in this day and age, go look on their Facebook page. You're going to know they're going through problems. You're going to know. Just watch the stuff that they start. Just watch the little posts they be putting up there. You already going to know. Oh, I'm sorry. You had a script. Go ahead.
Exodus 23:2. It goes right into what he's speaking on. That's so true is because, it's like you said, you may not know or understand what a brother or sister is going through. But you go on their timeline or on their threads, you're going to see something. And you be like, damn, where's that coming from? I just seen the brother. I just seen the sister. It seemed like it was good. Sometimes y'all even, like I said, y'all, some people be in class posting. I seen it. I'll look and it'll be like, just posted 20 minutes ago. And I'm like, we've been in class for the last hour. That's the type of stuff that goes on. But listen, that's evil. Read that in the law.
Exodus chapter 23 and verse 2. Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil.
Do you see that? What's the slogan of that? Follow me on such and such, right? But everybody loves the social media because as soon as you see that same post he said, don't you hate when people be fake when you know they get. That's right. I know I hate. Everybody speaking on something they know, but everybody else may not be privy to. A lot of subliminals going on. And then you like it. Oh, no, you following this evil. You share it, or you partaking in the evil. You've expanded this hole of hell for more people to jump on in and get comfortable. All over www.Instagram, Facebook, whatever. And we be thinking that this is exempt from the law. Sisters on there teaching. I'm not teaching. I was just sharing something. If you don't knock it off, you know exactly what you're doing. Brothers on there sowing super discord. I mean, it's disgusting. I mean, I have to detox like weekly. And the only reason why I have Facebook is because the school needs it. But it's super toxic. Super toxic. And that's the area where everybody goes and does their dirt. And then comes in real life and act like it don't stink. And that's foul. And it's wicked. And the Most High said, you don't follow a multitude to do evil. That's in anything. Whether you got people running to the church houses, to the mosques, and to the synagogues, following after the fake Jews, they following after evil. The Most High said, don't follow them. When you see our people starting to get acclimated to all of this, stay in the house, do all this, listen to the government, do what they tell you to do. They just don't understand the soft steps that they leading you, marching you on down to your oppression. into the gates of hell. And it's like, no, it's not that big a deal. We'll get over it. Everything's going to be fine. That's why Christ even told us, he said, don't go, what's that, Matthew 7:13, where it tells you, wide is the gate that leads to destruction, narrow is the way that leads to life. Mm-hmm. It's hard walking that single, narrow path that you gotta kind of squeeze in, might not be comfortable. That's some conversation that you gotta have when something goes wrong, and you gotta be the one to speak up and say, hey, that ain't right, brother. Hey, sis, you know that's not right? This man used to catch hell just for, quote unquote, policing at the door when he gotta go tell sis, that skirt's a little too tight. Oh, that skirt. Now it's up. Who told you Tom? You Tom over here telling people, my wife and it. Who else are going to tell? If you're not going to tell your wife you can't wear that, somebody got to. But then he gets caught in the crosshairs. And as leadership, we say, no, yeah, you continue doing that, Ike. We got your back. That's what it's going to be. Brothers, like you said, one double agent, he got fringes under the shirt. It's like, what game are you playing? Which team are you on? You want the fringes or you want the regular shirt? Oh, what is this one? I got it here, brother. You see it? I didn't see it until you showed me. No, we're not doing that. So the Most High said, listen, the end all be all is don't follow a multitude to do evil. If you see it's wrong, Most High said separate from that and you better correct it. Read on.
Neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to wrest judgment.
So if a judgment's going on, people just arguing, they trying to figure out what's right, what's wrong, and you say, I'm staying out of that. I'm declining to speak. Even though you haven't answered, even though you could rectify the problem, you could be the one that sets judgment aright. That ain't my business. That's their thing. Most I said, you got the ability to make something right, especially according to the law, and you decline it? Dead wrong. Can't do it. See, I don't like correcting them sisters because they always be barking down my throat and I get isolated and they give me an evil eye every time I walk. Guess what? You walk on Yahweh Shai. That's that narrow path that he said, few there be that find it. That's the cold part. It's easy to go with the crowd, everybody, but if the crowd is not doing right, the Most High said, you better step out that crowd, tell them, hey, y'all, we going the wrong way. Turn right, because we going left. Shut up. You're just trying to be rebellious. Come with us. No, that's okay. I won't get lost because I know the right way. Y'all can get lost if you want to. But I told you what was right and what was wrong. That's why when he quoted Ezekiel 3, he said, watchman, you got to warn the wicked from his way, because if you don't, I'm holding their blood at your hands. Mm-hmm. I'm still going to get them. But because you didn't say something, I'm getting you too. That's why it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. Because he holds everybody accountable. He's like, look, y'all brothers and your sisters. You a nation. And the time that you get in this separated mind state to where it's just me. That's why the Most High don't support these individualites online, because there's no accountability. He like, no. All of y'all are together. So if you see and know something is wrong and you don't do nothing about it, I ain't with them camps. That's them. They do that. Okay. But at what point in time are you going to make sure that something is right or wrong? Mm-hmm. If you're a watchman, most I say, well, if they all wrong, no problem. I'm going to whip the hell out of all of them. But don't think you safe because you wasn't with them. You with them because you didn't say nothing. That's the cold part. That's how our Father works. Oh. He want everybody right. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're all right. Get Ezekiel 3 and 9. Because just like he was saying, it said, neither shalt thou speak in a call to decline after many to rest judgment. That's a lot of times what many of us do. Everything the brother bringing out was true. We don't want to say nothing. It's like, look, if you don't want to say nothing, don't even be in the picture. Anytime you in the picture, you're an accomplice. It's one of those things where, look, if you know, man, my boy always doing something, man, always doing some dirt, then why you always riding with him? Well, man, he my boy. Well, damn, if he your boy, then speak on what he doing then. Or choose to where, hey, I can't really roll with you like that, man, because it's always something. Whether you got that, hey, homeboy, homegirl, she always hot-headed, get into fights, it's like, well, look, if at the end of the day, you ain't going to tell her what she needs to know or hear, you know, then you can't keep putting yourself in the predicament to where you're an accomplice to the crime. Because the Most High is still going to hold you accountable. No different than the same thing with the laws of Esau. That's why he does it to where, look, like how many of you guys seen where recently it was on social media, one dude's, some Israelites robbed the corn lady. And some other Israelites later on another video actually gave her money back, but it's like still, when they got in the car, there was other people in the car. They record like, oh, man. Hey, the other people, they accomplices to the crime. Because they ain't say nothing. Right. But guess what? Knowing Israel, I'm not going to say that's my boy. I want to be no snitch. It ain't snitching when it come down to judgment and offenses to the law. That ain't something that just, it's different if brother said, you know, confide to you and there's like a personal secret, you know, life what's going on situation, that's one thing. But when they breaking the law, according to thus said the Most High, nah, that's judgment. That's a different thing. Now you resting, nah, I don't want to say nothing. But Esau even know the same thing. He understand the law. In that regard, where he's still going to hold you accountable. You try to say, well, I didn't steal the bank. I didn't rob it. Yeah, but you was the getaway driver. Well, shoot, I wasn't the getaway driver. I didn't rob it. But yeah, you was a witness. You was in the back seat. You ain't say nothing about it. He will not let you go. How much more the Most High?
Esau so cold. You snitch and you still get time. You be thinking,
you be double-edged sword.
If I tell you everything, yeah, tell us everything. It'll be fine. You know, I'll go talk to the DA. We'll make sure that. Man, you thinking I'm doing that? Man, I'm about to tell every damn thing. I'm out of here. Yeah, okay. Well, your boys are doing life, but you're gonna do 5.
Esau do you dirty. He give you a discount.
That's how the Most High, like, yeah, you was there.
Most High be just, but Esau give you a discount. I know a cat today, he did 29 years for not snitching. I know a cat today, still alive to this day, he did 29 years for not snitching. You know, he's completely reformed now, but, you know, life story and everything. I sit down and talk to him, you know, things of that nature, but 29 years for not snitching. You know, so, because back in the day, just different mindset, you know. So he was loyal in that regard, but shoot, now you talk to him, different mindset when it comes down to gang culture, where you different thing. Nevertheless, read Ezekiel chapter 3, and I want you to read verse 17 first.
Ezekiel 3, verse 17, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Mm-hmm. Therefore hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. What? Warning from me.
It's all from the Most High. You just there to warn them. That's it. Don't shoot the messenger like they say, right? Hey, look, I'm just trying to save your life at the end of the day. So it's his words that they're upset with, not yours. You just the vessel. So it ain't personal. Judgment is not personal. Because guess what? Hopefully y'all see me mess up, y'all say something. Because, hey, sometimes, hey, we fall short. Or sometimes it's like, well, shoot, I didn't see it at that moment. I didn't know the gravity of the situation. Sometimes, hey, you may have said the wrong thing in the situation. Offenses will come. You know, so, but we do our best to offend less. Go ahead and read verse 7.
Verse 7. But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me.
So that's it. When they don't listen, it's not really you they're not listening to. It's the Most High they're not listening to. Read on.
For all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted.
Stiff-necked, rebellious, hard-headed. Read on.
Behold, I have made thy face strong against their faces, and thy forehead strong against their foreheads. Mm-hmm. As an adamant harder than flint have I made thy forehead. Fear them not.
That's one of the biggest things. We be fearful. We don't like to admit it, but we be fearful. We be scared. We don't want to be resented. We don't want to be, in a place to where it's people don't like us, Although it's been many years since many of y'all came out of high school, but y'all still got a high school mentality with a lot of stuff. I still want to be with the popular kids. I don't want to, mess up my inner circle. So, read on.
As an adamant harder than flint have I made thy forehead. Fear them not, neither be dismayed at their looks.
That'd be the biggest thing. We be dismayed at their looks. Why he looking at me like that? Why she looking at me like that? I don't want to deal with that type of pressure. Read on.
Though they be a rebellious house.
That's just it. Times this are just being rebellious. Because those that made an offense and sincere, man, they're going to, oh, man, my bad. I didn't mean to, do it like that, say it like that, And they repented, y'all move on, y'all good. But the scorner, nah, man, you just shouldn't take it like that. That's on you, that ain't on me. I don't know why you tripping. And even when it comes down to, of another thing, get 1 Corinthians, chapter 10, verse 23. I do want to make sure I clarify something. Get 1 Corinthians 10 and 23.
Verse 23. All things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not.
So a lot of time we're looking at, because even the social media thing, I ain't telling nobody you got to delete your social media pages, things of that nature. Just be wise how you use them. These things are lawful, sometimes not always expedient, but it's making sure that, man, how much of these things are doing is really edification. That's really it. Is this really edifying? How is this helping? A lot of times we be posting stuff that only makes stuff worse. It only adds fuel to the fire. It only sows more discord and sows more problems. And I'm going to get more of that momentarily. We're going to actually come right back to that. So let me get something on, get 1 Corinthians 11 and 3.
1 Corinthians 11, verse 3.
I'm going to get another point, something else we do be doing. 1 Corinthians 11 and 3 while we're here.
But I would have you know that the head of every man is Yahushua, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Yahushua is the Most High.
So that's another scripture we read, but yet and still, somehow it escapes us. We read the order, and especially this one applies to more of my female counterparts, to where we read the order, but yet and still, there's so much dissension in the household, especially from the woman arguing with the husband. And even some brothers, I'll say, shouldn't be no arguments. That doesn't mean that I'm going to always be in a place to where everything, as a woman, everything that your husband may think of, that you just believe it's a great idea, but you communicate. Communication meaning you're not yelling, cussing him out, calling him out his name. You ain't doing none of that. You're bringing forth whatever disagreement you have in order. No different than with the kids. And we said well, some of us say it, I say it. It's the reality is look at the dynamics of the situation. Think about it. One will easily say it is disrespectful for the children to talk back to the parents. We say kind. We agree, right? We'll say disrespect. You shouldn't. We would say, well, look, does Christ, you think he talks back to the Most High? Think he disrespected him and called? So now, why is it such an issue? So difficult for the woman to understand that with her husband. That every time you choose to talk about, you're out of order. That's another tally you put onto your sin marker. That only works against you. Every time, it doesn't matter what he's doing. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Because it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if, he doesn't wash the dishes, doesn't tell the trash, doesn't always say the nicest thing, he doesn't always greet you when you come through the house, doesn't buy you flowers, doesn't always take you out, things, and the list goes on. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, that does not affect what you should be doing righteously. It does not affect it. Now, I am not saying that dealing with some of those things that, hey, some of those things may be more challenging and that you may not still feel a certain way towards your situation or towards him at the time. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that that should not affect how you should apply the scriptures. That doesn't change. The scriptures are still applied the same way. You don't read what the Most says, well, surely, if you don't like your husband, then you don't have to honor him as your head. You don't read that. Sure, you don't read surely if you don't like your parents, you don't agree with them, you don't have to honor them. You don't read that. It's all hands down, this is the order. And guess what? If it's that bad, Most High will change it. So once again, where's your faith? Because if you're now trying to put yourself in that spot to where I got to handle it, I got to talk, I got to, you doing this, I got to check him. No. You don't check him. Not like that. He checks you. You don't check him. Because now you're putting yourself in the Most High spot. Most High says, I will deal with him if it gets that bad. I'll even put him to death. That's why we bring out the Abigail and the ball. Because Abigail continued to faithfully play her role as a righteous wife, Proverbs 31, and guess what it allowed the Most High to do? Okay, well, shoot. It's been these years, he ain't changed, he's only gotten worse. All right, I'll put him to death. You marry someone else. That's it. Anytime a sister ain't rolling that she putting herself in, your faith is little. You got to examine yourself. You got to work on that. And know that, hey, I still got little faith. I still want to put myself in the Most High slot. That's all you're doing. You're putting yourself in the Most High slot every time. The child who says, well, my parents don't listen, and you saying, well, F this, mom, F that, or you just saying, nah, I ain't doing that, or you just talking back in any sort of way. Most of y'all know because some of y'all didn't talk back to your parents in different ways. Some of y'all suffered for it. Some of y'all got away with it. Either way it goes doesn't change the sin that happened. Still disrespect still goes against the ordinance of the Most High. You got to change those things. That's part of that leaven. And that shows where your faith is to the Most High. Because the Most High said, well, look, because at the end of the day, we say, Most High does all things. He will, hey, Most High put you in this situation. When he's ready, he'll take you out. Obviously, there's a learning lesson at hand. So play your role. And have faith in it. That it'll change. When you change. A lot of these things are indicative on you. And what part did you play in the situation? You may have a situation, man, my kids ain't listening. Do you listen? That's how judgment works too. Man, my kids being disobedient. Are you being obedient? You got to see how the Most High feels. Most High said, let me give you a taste of your own medicine. The world calls it karma, but it's judgment. It's the Most High, how he works, how he rolls. So now from there, let's go ahead and let's get Sirach 4 and 10. Because many with all this coronavirus and all this other stuff going on, and people saying we got to unify and come together, things of that nature. And, even some brothers say, well, see, now situations, sisters got to be in a place to, want to be in a multiple wives situation, things of that nature. Those things be circulating too. They're not saying with all the, hey, situation may call for it, but it's one thing you got to make sure we as men got to understand first. Read that in Sirach, chapter 4 and verse 10.
Ecclesiasticus 4 and 10, be as a father unto the fatherless, and instead of an husband unto their mother.
So one of the things to make sure is, are you being a father unto the fatherless? That's a requirement of the Most High that he requires of us as men. Where's your level of charity in helping a sister out before you're looking to try to take that sister unto yourself? That shouldn't be a requirement. A requirement to help someone out shouldn't have to come at a service or obligation to be joined unto you. You should be able to wholeheartedly help brothers and sisters out without expecting anything in return. Sometimes, it's a place to where and once again, it's not saying once again that, one may not choose in times of hardship to join unto brothers and sisters because, hey, join unto this family. because, hey, hardship, things of that nature come in, but it's just making sure you're doing it in the right spirit. And some brothers don't be in the right spirit. Some brothers looking at everything it is that they have to gain out of the situation instead of everything it is they should be looking at where you're mandated to give in the situation. Because those things come with responsibilities. Sometimes we overshoot. But there is a balance. Now, on the flip side, get Proverbs 14:1.
You want to finish this or no?
Yeah, you can finish it.
Finishing up chapter Sirach 4 and verse 10. Be as a father unto the fatherless, and instead of an husband unto their mother, so shalt thou be as the son of the Most High, and he shall love thee more than thy mother doth.
Right. Because the Most High, he sees those things. He knows your heart, as once another Christian saying. God know my heart. Yeah, he do. Because a lot of times during hardship, then you're going to have a lot of men, even a lot of leaders, taking advantage of the people. So even in hardships, to where I'm going to use this to capitalize on a situation. Somebody in need, I'll help you out, but it's going to cost you. This is the payment plan. So just be wary of individuals like that if you're a sister, and just be mindful and repent if you're a brother in that mindset. Once again, I'm just dealing with situational if that be the case. Yep. What's it called? Proverbs 14:1.
Book of Proverbs 14, verse 1.
Go ahead and read it.
Every wise woman buildeth her house.
Now, on the flip side, for the sister, for the wife who may be complaining, oh, hell no, whatever it is, or disdain, husband getting away, whatever it is. Same thing, you got to change too, because every wise woman is going to build her house. Read on.
But the foolish plucketh it down with her hands.
Only a foolish woman would try to look to pluck down her household. If having wives was something that was so bad, or all these things, all these problems, Most High wouldn't even deem it lawful. If it was so bad and complicated, Most High wouldn't deem it lawful. He would say, surely the mischief that follows is very sad and very poor of countenance unto the flesh. For no such thing should be wrought in Israel. He would say something like that. But it's a good thing that the world has turned bad. No different than someone who says, shoot, nah, man, I can't get married, man. Don't want no devil woman. Marriage, Most High said, marriage is a good thing. The world turns it bad. Well, I don't want no husband, don't want no man telling me what to do all the time. And marriage is a good thing. But the world turns it bad. But you do have to examine whether or not marriage is something that you're ready for and that you're adequate for. That's the difference. The situation is good, but just because it's good doesn't mean it's good for you as the individual. Doesn't mean it's best for you. Doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Everyone has their gift. Because sometimes you want an aspect of the situation, but you don't want to take on the whole situation. Said, nah, sis don't want a husband. She just want to get out of her mama house. Brother don't want a wife. He just wants some sex. Brother don't want a wife. He just wants someone to cook his meals. Sister don't want a husband. She just wants some money. People have motives. People use you to get what they got to get. Those are things you got to examine and see your motives in situations. Otherwise, you're reaping coals upon your own head. And then you wonder why your marriage is such a struggle. Because did you examine yourself to see where your motives was even in the beginning in the situation? Sometimes we look at people as just a come up. This is what's going to help me come up to a better situation. And you the tool of vessel to get me there. But I wasn't willing to play my part. You want a husband, but you ready to be a wife? You want a wife, but are you ready to be a husband? Those are things you got to ask yourself because there's duties that come along with that title. A lot of us, and once again, social media be chasing the clout. We seeing all them posts and other couples together, and you want that same thing. You be watching the movies on, what is that, Lifetime movies and all the other dramas, and you're just like, I want that. That'll be nice. You want what's on a commercial. And then you get in this situation, why ain't it like on TV? Why ain't it like the novel I be reading? That's the they be up with us. But once again, it's because you're looking for a fantasy. And a fantasy ain't reality. Because you wasn't ready for it. Those are things you got to examine with yourself. And be honest with yourself. Let's get the next. Let's get Sirach, 18 and 20. We're going to go 18, 20 through 22.
Sirach, chapter 18, verse 18. A fool will upbraid.
We can get Sirach 18, 20 to 22.
Oh, 20 to 22. Okay. Verse 20. Before judgment, examine thyself.
So it says, look, before what?
Before judgment.
It says before judgment. Before judgment, do what?
Examine thyself.
Examine yourself. We're now facing, what they say, we're now facing unprecedented times. We go into dark waters and uncharted territory. America hasn't been this bad since we don't know how long. But yet and still, many of us are making a concern to make sure we're right with the Most High. Preparation stuff, that's secondary. Diet and stuff, that's all secondary. But righteousness comes first. Before unity, because unity, uniform, you're dealing with one. You're dealing with one and uniform, unity. Dealing with one. United, but united under what banner? Supposed to be Yahweh Shai, supposed to be Yahweh, supposed to be righteousness. Because what does Amos 3 and 3 tell us? Can two walk together except they be agreed? So how can you look to build if you don't first look at the foundation in which you're building on? And then also, even before you look at that, look as to whom you're laboring with. You just worry about getting it built. But it ain't going to get built if the foundation all tore up. It ain't going to hold together. It ain't going to get built if the laborers you got is jacked up. Here it is, you already bought this, y'all bought it, y'all trying to build it. But then 2 out of the 10 people you bought it with trying to sell it. Another person over here shooting, over here selling all sorts of drugs and narcotics out of it. Another person pimping out of it. You done lost half your labor force. But you were just worried about, just get it up there. Let's just build. You got to examine. You got to see where you at. See where those to your left and your right at. Because sometimes those who seem the most stable are the most unstable. And those who seem more unstable are actually more stable. What the scriptures say, don't judge a book by its cover. That's what we deal with, right? So, now, nevertheless, or at least, I know the scriptures verbatim say, but gets wisdom on it. But now, let's continue reading.
Verse 21, humble thyself before thou be sick.
So now it says, humble thyself before you be sick. Because a lot of times, whatever it is, all these plagues and pestilence coming in to come, it's judgments. That's why the scriptures say, humble yourself before you become sick. Before the Most High chooses to cast something on you. hit you in all sorts of plagues, all sorts of ways. But you can evade a lot of it just through repenting and turning away from how it is you've been dealing with things. Read on.
Verse 21. Humble thyself before thou be sick, and in the time of sins show repentance. Let nothing hinder thee to pay thy vow in due time, and defer not until death to be justified.
Because the thing is, Most High wants you to get everything right in due season. I want you to hold that. Read Ecclesiasticus chapter 17 and verse 25. This is what the Most High wants.
Chapter 17, verse 25. Return unto the Lord. And
start with verse 24, I'm sorry.
24. But unto them that repent, he granted them return.
See that? If you repent, the Most High is all with you. We good. Because you getting better. You working on it. Read on.
Return unto the Lord and forsake thy sins. Make thy prayer before his face and offend less.
And do what? I'm sorry, read verse 25 again.
Return unto the Lord. No, let me finish 24. I think I missed
okay,
that.
yeah, read verse 24.
But unto them that repent, he granted them return and comforted those that failed in patience.
You see that? The Most High will also comfort those who failed in patience as long as you work on that repentance. Because sometimes we ain't the most patient. Sometimes we like, ooh, I want it now. This should change now. This should be this now. Sometimes we may get there. But when we work on ourselves, the Most High is more forgiving of our infirmities. Because he sees you making progress. And let me just read this one right here, verse 25.
Return unto the Lord and forsake thy sins. Make thy prayer before his face and offend less.
And do what?
Offend less.
That's the thing you got to think about. That's the thing I really want you to tap into this Passover season. Work to offend less. Work to offend less. Work on yourself. Make sure you're good with your brothers. Make sure I'm working to offend less. That's what I have to work on. Let me see, examine and see how am I moving across all categories. Brother, father, leader, husband. And making sure that I am offending less. Because that's how the Most High is looking at you. Not expecting you to just light switch it. All of a sudden, everything just, we all good. Nah, offend less. Work on it. But don't just say, yeah, I'm working on it. Nah, actually work on it. We be the first one to say, yeah, I'm working on it, but nah, you ain't working on it. Actually work on it, and the Most High going to be looking at that. And he'll have mercy on you, because he sees you're applying. He sees that you're not just saying you're trying, you're actually making an effort to do. That's where his grace and mercy comes in. You're doing. May fall a little short. Hey, righteous man, fall 7 times, but he get back up. Because you don't wallow in it. You continue to make an effort to progressively build and work on yourself to become better for him and your people. That's it. It's him and your people. All these little tedious things, it's all made to make us better. All these relationships and bonds are all made to make us better and to test and try our faith and our patience with these laws in the Most High and to prove we're worthy of his kingdom. Like even the scripture says, it's like, look, all those who were charitable, and took care of his people and were gracious unto them. All those things that you do unto your people, you do unto Christ. So when he said, well, look, when did I ever take care of you, Christ? He's like, well, shoot, you took care of my people. You did. That was you taking care of me. This is you. You have to understand your test is every day dealing with your brothers and sisters. That is your test. That is your trial. If you're failing that, you're failing a big part of you making it into the kingdom. It was a question that came with the Q&A. Do I got a street to make? No, you got to keep the laws. But the things I'm going to, this is keeping the law. These are all these little things we overlook. It ain't about you just coming to class. You come to class is the learning aspect. It ain't just about me just showing up for the feast, drinking with some, laughing, and man, I'm good. It's about how did you deal with those trials and temptations? How did you deal when so-and-so said something foul? How did you react? That's the test. That's when it's game time. When you're in class, you're learning right there. The test is how you're going to apply what you've learned. That's what you're looking at with your people. Get from there, read verse 24.
Verse 24 of 17?
Of 18, I'm sorry.
18.
He says 18 and 24.
18, verse 24. Think upon the wrath that shall be at the end, and the time of vengeance when he shall turn away his face.
That's what you have to keep in mind. When you look at all the judgment, everything that came, the flood. Flood didn't come for the righteous, it came for the wicked. The righteous were fine, but the wicked suffered. And all these things, you have to think about the wrath of the Most High and everything coming, because you don't want him to turn his face away from you in your time of need. But the Most High is going to say, well, you turned your face away from me in my time of need. Like, when did you need me, Father? Well, my people called, and you didn't answer. You want me to help you, but you ain't helped them. You want me to give you a blessing, but you couldn't even bless your sister when she came to you and asked for your help. Heck, you couldn't even give her and lead her to the right person to help her if you wasn't going to help. That's dealing with them tokens. But when he said that servant who said, well, shoot, I know, man, you gave it to me. You just gave me one. I hid it. He said, man, you wicked servant. You could at least gave it to exchange. I could have got something. Pretty much, you could have put it in a saving account. It could at least build some revenue. You just hid it under a pillow and did nothing. Man, take from that person, give it to the next. The same thing. You ain't help your brother or sister out. You could at least have guided them to someone who could help them if you couldn't. You were just kind of worried about them kind of getting out of your face so you could go on and watch TV. And get back to your daily, regular, scheduled programming. That's how we be. But those are the times to where, all right, let me put this aside. Let me deal with my brother or my sister according to their particular need and make that time for them. Most High, he appreciates that. Because that's what you're doing for him. What you're doing for his people. But if you disannul those things, Most High, will you disannul in me? You don't have to sit behind the desk or table in this manner to be a teacher or to give someone counsel. People give counsel all the time. Most of y'all give counsel pretty often. It's just whether or not it's good, wise, just, unjust, wicked. Because a lot of y'all know somebody, hey man, I've been going through. Well, look, so-and-so was. Y'all be in them situations, you give counsel. It's just how profitable, how righteous it is. But you in those places where, hey, but you held accountable for what you say and teach. Most High is looking at that. Because this is how you advise this person to proceed. Much is required. So now, let me go ahead and get Sirach 10, 12 through 13.
Sirach chapter 10, verse 12. The beginning of pride is when one departed from the Most High.
So the beginning of pride is when one starts to depart from the Most High. Even then, that goes our head. The beginning of pride is when one starts to depart from the Most High. That goes our head because we be like, well, I ain't departing from the Most High. I'm good. I'm keeping the laws. No. That when that pride come in, going back, let's rewind to earlier conversation. When your husband says, hey, can you pass me that? You right there. How come you can't get that? Pride already came up. You already started to depart from your maker. Brother said, hey, man, where your friend? I got friends on. God know I got friends on. Well, we just couldn't sit. You already started to depart from your maker. parents tell you, hey, hey, son, you should do this. Look, I'm grown. I can do this. Pride starts to depart from your maker. Doesn't take much. It's all how you react in that situation and how you deal with that situation. That's when the pride is the beginning. That's that initial, and you start to depart from the Most High in that moment. And then you continue in that, and it gets worse. It escalates. You choose to either, let me knock this out, extinguish it, or nope, it's growing. Nope, it's only getting worse. And that pride is building. And it leads to a greater offense. Continue reading.
The beginning of pride is when one departed from the Most High, and his heart is turned away from his Maker.
That's it. Your heart, your mind is turned away unto a different understanding, unto a different level of reasoning. Read on.
For pride is the beginning of sin. And
Pride is what?
The beginning of sin.
Pride is the beginning of sin. Read on.
And he that hath it shall pour out abomination. And therefore the Lord brought upon them strange calamities and overthrew them utterly.
Because look at our people in the world. What happened? Why did they get put to death? For complaining, for not being obedient, not listening, talking back. Same stuff. Most High was putting them to death. He's giving us a chance to repent. But if you're not identifying it and really examining yourself and getting rid of that leaven, it still remains. Now, for now, get Proverbs 13 and 10. Because in every situation, there's only one way you can have problems. Now we got problems.
Proverbs 13, verse 10. Only by pride.
Only by what?
Pride.
Only by pride. That's that pride. Only by pride what?
Cometh contention.
Only by pride cometh contention. Only by pride do problems come in. Because it's either on both sides or one side or the other. Because if there was humility on both sides being exercised, things would be good. But if they're not good, somebody's being prideful. Which one is it? Or is it both? Sometimes one prideful remark leads to another prideful remark. You pricked me, so now I'm going to prick you. It goes as a back and forth thing. That's a lot of times how it happens. You have to realize the initiator into what pricked the one person to call the other person to prick them back. That, oh, you said this, and then you pushed my button, so then I pushed yours back, and then it led back and forth. I've had that with someone. They asked me, like, shoot, man, why'd you get like this? I said, well, looking back at our conversation, you said this, which then caused me to say this, and you took this out of hand, and then you felt like I said this, and that's when you came back, and then I came back like this. Whole conversation. It was like, all right, well, shoot, that makes sense. Well, I apologize. I said, well, cool. You're not a problem. Well, shoot, apologize too, but this was what I was trying to show you. I didn't mean to be offensive, but this is what it is I was trying to tell you. So, and that was it, and you resolve it. Sometimes you just got to backtrack the conversation. And you realize, all right, this is why I responded this way, because you came at me this way. So, sometimes it's that easy. But read on. Verse 10, Proverbs 13 and 10.
Verse 10. Only by pride cometh contention, but with the well-advised is wisdom.
But with the well-advised is wisdom. It's around 5 and 7. So it said, with the well-advised, there is wisdom. Hopefully, everyone in here can be well-advised. So, not necessarily just in regards to me, there's someone up here teaching you, but just in regards to your day-to-day learner, whoever it is you spend most of your time with. Hopefully, you could be well-advised. So, scriptures give us how to execute, but it's how well we apply. Go ahead and read that.
Sirach 5, verse 7. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord.
A lot of times we do that. Say, I'll work on it. I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. The scripture said, make no tarrying to turn to the Lord. Read on.
And put not off from day to day.
And put not off from day to day. Because a lot of times we do that. We start saying, I'll work on it. I'll get to it. I'll change that later. Read on.
For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security.
In thy what?
Security.
Read.
Thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance.
Because that's what happens. You wait till all hell start breaking loose to want to now try to get right. But you didn't have an inch of that fire in you prior to that. Are we not children? The children of Israel? Soon the kids see their parents, oh, snap, I got to make sure I clean up and, mom's and dad's, Soon you see the Most High starting to cast down some vengeance, snap, let me get it right. Damn it. That's how Israel be. Now let me get it right. You should have had that fear in you from jump. We being here like being in the truth just to kick it thing. This ain't the bootleg church. There's a lot of applying you got to do here. Otherwise, you'll get caught slipping. And guess what? You get caught slipping in this judgment. You get hit, boy. Most High said, I got something for you. I'm going to hit you in 6 months, 3 days, and 2 hours. Kidney stones. Woo! Woo! I got you. All right. Let that last for a little bit. I'm going to hit him. Pneumonia. All right. I'll let that pass. You know what? I'm putting your daddy to death. Woo! Hopefully that touched you. Next time I'm going to hit a little closer to home. Most High, he does everything. Oh, you ain't going to get pregnant. Nope. You want that baby? I want you to get right. It can wait. You want it? I want you to get right. Just like you want that baby. I want you to get right. You repent, I'll repent of my thoughts towards you. You get it right, so will I. Waiting on you. I got eternity. How much time you got? I'll wait. Don't we be at that with our kids? Hey, fix your attitude. Nope. Fix your attitude. Most I do the same thing. Nope. You want that job, right? Nope. See? Flying off the handle again. Nope. Go think about that. Nope. 6 months. I'm going to wait. You go think about what you're doing. Get your act together. Think I'm playing, huh? All right, we'll see how them bills looking. I'll wait. So the Most High do us. It ain't nothing for him. Because we still children, even more than our forefathers. Forefathers living hundreds of years. We barely live. Happy to see if we see 50, let alone 100. Yeah. He said, man, these kids, I'll tell you, y'all gonna experience, he said, well, look, y'all men gonna experience my turmoil with you through the woman. Women, y'all gonna experience my turmoil through the children. That way everybody get to see yourself in your reflection. Brothers, look at your wives and say, that's me. Women, look at your children and say, that's me. And boy, I gotta change. That's what the Most High does it because it helps grow you up. Hopefully you see that. You see your reflection and see some of the stuff you gotta fix. Because it gets you, hopefully sometimes you realize like, damn, I be telling my kid that stuff. You be able to, man, my husband be telling me the same thing I be telling my kids. Hopefully husband get hit like, damn. Most High, I be reading them scriptures, I be teaching, man, Most High be telling me the same thing I be trying to tell my wife. Hope you get you meditate because the scriptures say he that teaches another teaches not himself. So now, from there, let's go ahead and get all right, I think I have time. Let me go ahead. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, 5. All right, let's get Sirach 20. Let's get Sirach chapter 20, and let's read 16 to 17.
Sirach 20, verse 16.
Mm-hmm.
The fool saith, I have no friends. I have no thank for all my good deeds, and they that eat my bread speak evil of me.
That's another thing. Well, you know, I ain't got no friends here. We ain't really family here. That be people saying that in different places, different camps. Most of us say, you foolish. You're a foolish individual. Don't nobody say nothing. Don't nobody like me. Read it again.
The fool saith, I have no friends. I have no thank for all my good deeds, and they that eat my bread speak evil of me.
See that? All they do is talk about me. Ain't no brotherhood. Ain't no sisterhood. And we judge that off a situation we have one person. That'd be the cold part. Or be a select few. But yet and still, you blame the whole. And like it'd be a room of 10 people. You got a problem with 2. You got into it with 2. They all bad now. All 10 of them bad, even though it was a problem just with 2. See, I ain't got no friends here. We ain't got no family. That just be Israel. Many times. Y'all have heard it and seen it. Stay around long enough, you will. Because once again, you think everybody talking about you. See, I do all this stuff. Don't nobody appreciate it. That'd be Israel. Ain't that nobody appreciated it, may be in the direction you looking in. This person or this person may not appreciate it. That don't mean that's everybody. Like just because I don't get a standing ovation with every lesson don't mean that people didn't like it. What I'm supposed to do is express, bravo! Bravo! You ain't gonna get that every time. It's true. You can't expect everybody to react the same. Well, I gave her a gift. She just wasn't happy about it. Now you know. I mean, she ain't got to react just because the other sister was, oh, doesn't mean that next sister got to be like, oh, don't work that way. Just because one brother, man, I bet, don't mean the next brother going to be like that. I mean, people react differently. That doesn't change how they felt about it. People just respond differently. That's the truth. Certain people be like, you know, man, you got me something? I appreciate that. You may be like, man, the brother didn't even seem that happy to get it. But later on in the conversation, man, you know, it's been a while since anybody got me something. I appreciate that. It meant a lot to me. People handle things differently. You may not be over jealous like, I don't get stuff like that. Or, you know, or maybe I do get stuff and I was still happy, though. You made my day. Don't mean they got to jump up and down, you know, so that's just it. But sometimes we just feel differently, and sometimes those feelings are just because of our own insecurities. Because you was already within your own mind at a presupposition of how it should have went down. You just thought they should have just jumped up and down. So sometimes we set ourselves up for failure. And that affects our relationships as well. And then you have grudges formed off of that. Because, man, shoot, it seemed like he didn't like it and ain't going to get him nothing else. When it's like, did you even ask him if that was the case? Well, you know, you can just tell a lot of times. You know, you just tell. Sometimes we be fooling ourselves to where it's like, or shoot, brother could have a lot on his mind, or sister could have a lot on her mind to where I wasn't even fully locked in at the moment. A lot of other stuff was going on. I appreciated it, but it was just a whole bunch of other BS. And you never know, but you didn't ask, so you just assumed and got your own feelings hurt, you know? And then you started to act differently toward this person, all because you felt differently, when in their world, it was all good. It made my day. It was just other stuff. But yet and still, we don't work these things out. Matthew 18 it. Talk to them. Them things we forget. But read on. 17.
Verse 17. How oft and of how many shall he be laughed to scorn?
Those people be laughed to scorn. Because at the end of the day, it ain't even like that. Read on.
For he knoweth not aright what it is to have.
Because a lot of times, man, you got people saying, man, they don't appreciate, man, I give. And a lot of times it's like, look, a lot of times it ain't even like that. You have to know and understand, what it is that you truly have. You do have people that care. A lot of times we be looking at, man, these people don't value me, but these people do. You be so focused on here of that one or two people you do want to value, you forget about the ones over here that do value. And a lot of times the ones that do are much greater than the few that don't. But since you're so focused over here, you forget about all this over here. So, man, ain't no brotherhood, no unity. Well, I see these brothers do invite you out. How come you don't want to go with them? Nah, well, that's different. That's how they be, like, real honest talk. Other brothers experience that too. It'd be, hey, brothers or sisters that inviting, but you don't want those particular brothers. You want those other brothers and sisters. That'd be the difference. So it's like unto you, it's, them ain't the ones. I want them. They not doing it, so, ain't no brotherhood. As a man thinketh, so is he. Your perception. So now, continue reading.
How oft and how many shall he be laughed to scorn? For he knoweth not aright what it is to have. And it is all one unto him as if he had it not.
And that's how a lot of people is. It's all unto one of you as if you didn't even have it. A lot of times, different people, even sometimes, hey, you wouldn't be the first one. We don't do nothing. That is a very broad statement. Define nothing. Define it. Man, I ain't got nothing. Define it. What is it that you don't have? Because you can seem like you got a lot, which you do, but you're thinking of something in particular, but you relate it to the broad scope of it. That's what we do all the time. We always relate everything to the broad instead of narrowing it down to what exactly it is. Man, stuff ain't right. What exactly isn't right? Stuff need to change. What exactly needs to change? Things need to be different. What things need to be different, and in what way does it need to be different? Let's start to unravel these things, shall we? And actually get into it. Because once again, if you want to effectively make change, that's how you deal with it. Well, I just want you to spend more time with me. We do spend time. We eat together. We up here watch TV together. But I want you to spend more time. In what way? You want to spend more time? Do you want to play a board game instead? Or I don't know. What dynamic do you want? Specify. A lot of times we use broad, generic, and vague terms or ambiguous terms. Vague and not precise, ambiguous, more than one meaning. Say exactly what it is that you mean, and things will improve. When you're so vague, people are going to say, that's not true. And then what's going to happen? It's going to be a situation where, like it says right here, how often of how many shall you be laughed to scorn? Because when people don't take you serious, they jump on as much, you feel as if your voice isn't being heard, to where you may have felt like you said a lot, but you really didn't say anything. You didn't give me any substance to really stand on and say, yeah, you're right, or yes, this, or yes, that. You just kind of drew an ambiguous kind of picture. It's like if I put a line on a piece of paper, and I'm like, see, ain't it nice? You're like, all right, not to be rude, but it's a line, and you, in your head, you like, man, I painted this rainbow. It's just like, it could become a rainbow, but you got to do a lot more painting, adding into it not just a line, and that's just kind of it. You got to add more to the picture, color it in so that I have a clear understanding of what you're trying to convey to me. A lot of times we don't do that, and we end up with more problems. So now, the other thing it says, and it is all one as him as if he had not, because it's the same thing. End up in a place to where as if ain't nothing changed, ain't nothing good. So now from there, let me go ahead and get, I want you to get Sirach chapter 19 and verse 8. I'm going to read 8 down to 17.
Sirach 19, verse 8. Whether it be to friend or foe, talk not of other men's lives.
Really? Read.
And if thou canst without offense, reveal them not.
So one thing that would save a lot of people is just don't talk about other people. A lot of times you ain't got no business talking about so-and-so and what they doing, and you end up causing an offense, bringing it up. You really got to look at what, if I'm bringing this up, how is this person involved that I'm bringing it up to? How are they going to improve this situation? How are they going to better the situation? Because are you getting counsel or are you venting? And understand the dynamic of the two. One can say, well, like for example, I'm bringing up different issues. You know, I'm saying, well, brothers be doing this, sisters be doing that. But I'm not doing it in a venting way. I'm doing these things unto edification unto the people to understand what individuals are doing and how and why these things are wrong. Counsel versus venting versus me just saying, well, you know how, in the dynamic I was doing earlier with social media. You got to be aware of that. Same dynamics go in conversation. Are you talking to this person? Are you venting? Or are you actually getting wise counsel on how you should proceed? Or asking them for understanding? There's a difference. Difference between I'm saying that, shoot, man, you know, and I'm trying to go into the brother like, look, man, I'm having an issue with brother, man. He was saying this, right? And I was like, man, what's up with this? And the brother says, well, look, God, you should counsel it. And he's telling me how to proceed. Okay, I'm getting counsel from the brother. But if all it is just situation, man, I'm doing this, you just like, yeah, man, that's just messed up, you know. Brother just shouldn't be like that, man. That's messed. Then all right, more so it's a venting situation. He should be able to say anything. You're in that situation, well, look, you know, talk to him. You know, work it out, man. And yeah, and that's, I mean, these are the scriptures I would have a deal. This is how the scriptures say we should deal with it, man. I, you know, have that conversation, sit down and talk with him. You know, just go ahead and work that out. That's the thing you got to do. But read on.
Whether it be to friend or foe, talk not of other men's lives, and if thou canst without offense, reveal them not. For he heard and observed thee, and when time cometh, he will hate thee.
Right. Because you over there gossiping, murmuring, backbiting. And now word is getting back. Read on.
If thou hast heard a word, let it die with thee. And be bold, it will not burst thee.
That's the other offense many of us do. You hear someone else's conversation, and then you go repeat that and you rehearse it unto another, which was none of your business. Which most I said, hey, look, if you heard a word, you heard so-and-so talking about a situation, hey, you keep that to yourself. Otherwise, you start rehearsing that to another. Now you gossiping and murmuring. You're telling the business because, hey, that was a personal situation there. They're going through things, the things they were just confiding in a brother or sister about, you know, or getting understanding, things of that nature. But read on.
A fool travaileth with the word, as a woman in labor of a child. As an arrow that sticketh in a man's thigh, so is a word within a fool's belly. Admonish a friend, it may be he hath not done it.
Now, on the flip side, it's like, well, look, if you hear something, well, go admonish that person, meaning go and treat them as if, hey, you know, in an empathetic and polite way and respectful manner, because what? Read that first part again.
Admonish a friend, it may be he hath not done it.
Because it may be that person didn't even do that. But a lot of times we hear something and, man, I heard you was talking about my mama. That be us. That's where them lines come. Heard you was talking about when you didn't even check to see if it was even true. You hostile when there may not even be anything to be hostile about. Because it may not even be an actual true situation, but just a slander. Read on.
And if he have done it,
And if, just by chance, the person may have done it, read it.
that he do it no more.
That person do it no more. Read it.
Admonish thy friend, it may be he hath not said it. And if he have, that he speak it not again.
Read on.
Admonish a friend, for many times it is a slander.
For many times, it is a slander. Someone else trying to do it in spite. Maybe may not like y'all relationship. Maybe trying to cause some problems. Some people are like that. They like to cause dissension. Well, I heard so-and-so was saying they didn't like your dish. Oh, say what? And that's how it starts. When it wasn't true, it was just a slander, just a lie. Like we just believe like lies ain't real. You mean they lied? Nah, they wouldn't lie. Probably is talking about me. I believe it. Read on.
And believe not every tale.
We say believe not every tale. So don't believe it. Read verse 17.
Admonish thy neighbor before thou threaten him.
Wait, what?
Admonish thy neighbor before thou threaten him.
So when you go into your neighbor, the first thing you shouldn't be doing to your brother is threatening them first. Let's sit down, man, I'm trying to get to the bottom. I'm trying to see what's going on. I heard from Latrice, baby mama, uncle, cousin Tony that, you were saying this. Is that true? Nah, I don't even talk to Latrice like that. I don't even know how baby mama, cousin being involved when we ain't talked in 2 years. Hey, figure it out. That's how you're supposed to deal with it, because that way you quell the problem. Because at the end of the day, that's the thing you should be trying to focus on. Quell the situation. And then look to go ahead and make amends to make it good. Read on. Finish 17.
And who is he that hath not offended with his tongue?
17.
Oh, I'm sorry. Admonish thy neighbor.
That one's good too, because once again, we all make mistakes or say something out of pocket at some point in time. Whether it was something to where we were upset, maybe someone had too much liquor, or maybe, someone, was sorrowful, they were depressed, or maybe something slipped out. Maybe I just wasn't being wise. Maybe I just wasn't thinking, so on and so forth. Offenses will come. At the end of the time, it's just how you deal with it when it comes, all right? And sometimes it ain't even on you. It's just how the other person received it, and now there's an offense. That happens too. Not saying every time it's your fault. It's happened many times, just how the other person took it, but now there's an offense, and you may not even know it, but now you're involved in an offense. But it's still, you got to work out like, hey, like I said, I didn't mean it like that. I wasn't trying to come off like that, so my apologies that it seemed that way, but I meant it like this, and this is what led to that type thing. Read on.
Admonish thy neighbor before thou threaten him, and not being angry, give place to the law of the Most High.
And that's it. You may feel some way, but try not to be so angry to where you lose sight of the law and how you're supposed to deal with things. That's a lot of times what happens. I got a few more to get to. I'm about to get to these. Get Mark 11:25 to 26.
Book of Mark 11, verse 25. And when ye stand praying, forgive.
Do what?
Forgive.
Read.
If ye have aught against any, that your Father also, which is in heaven, may forgive you your trespasses.
Because that's what we pray for. That Matthew chapter 6, hey, our Father who art in heaven, and so on and so forth. We always ask for forgiveness, and we ask also for forgiveness of those who trespass against us. How can you ask for that and pray for that, but yet and still in real life you don't apply it? Now you're just being a hypocrite. Now you're losing sight of everything you're saying. You're just saying it just because. Just going through the motions once again. This ain't about just going through the motions. It's about, realizing that, man, I'm working on it, and I'm working to apply, and I actually am applying and working to better myself and offend less. That, yes, Father, forgive me my trespasses, as I'm also forgiving those who also trespass against me. That's what you should be praying about and honoring that. Read on.
But if ye do not forgive.
Oh, but if you do not forgive, what?
Neither will your Father which is in heaven forgive your trespass.
Oh, say it ain't so. I thought we had an option. Thought I could hold on to this grudge for a while. Read that again.
But if ye do not forgive.
If you do not forgive. Read.
Neither will your Father which is in heaven forgive your trespass.
Neither will the Most High. You can't forgive your brother, Most High can't forgive you. So how then can you keep atonement? How then can you partake in the Passover? When you're still not in the right spirit with the Most High, because you're not in the right spirit with your neighbor, with your brother, your sister, children, spouse, parents, so on and so forth. Read Matthew chapter 5, verse 23 to 24.
Matthew 5, verse 23. Therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother hath aught against thee, leave there thy gift before the altar, and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift.
See that? You trying to be charitable? Don't even worry about if you got a problem with your brother or sister. Well, I said, go fix that first, and then try to do some charity. Then try to do some giving. It ain't even acceptable till you go clear that up. How you going to try to go help another situation? You ain't even first fix the situation you in. Well, I said, look, fix your situation, and then I'm going to accept this, and it can be counted towards your good tokens. Yeah, alms covers a multitude of sins, but fix some of them sins you got going on first. Make those things right, and then let's go ahead and move forward. Let's get Luke 17 and 1.
Book of Luke 17, in the first verse. Then said he unto the disciples, it is impossible, but that offenses, it is impossible.
Read.
But that offenses will come.
So it is impossible, but offenses they will always be there. You will never just get rid of offenses until we make it to the kingdom. And that's just going to be at least amongst Israel, but the heathens still going to be causing the gang offenses. But offenses will come. It is impossible. They will come. Read.
But woe unto him through whom they come.
But woe unto them through who they come. Because at the end of the day, depending on them offenses, you can cause a lot of damage. You can cause a lot of damage between relationships, between friends and family. You can have people, leave congregation because of offenses, because of things that you did or you were a part of. You have people step away. You can lose your kids messing around with offenses, lose your spouse, lose your best friend, because it's all about how you deal with it. And what did you do in this situation? No different than, hey, you may be correcting your kids. Yeah, you telling everything, everything Tyrone did. But what did you do in this situation? What did you say? We don't like to deal with our stuff. We like to, well, she was doing it and he was doing and but what did you do? I was good. Bull. Skit. That's how we be. Once again, kids. Already got multiple spankings a day for lying. Same thing we do. We lying, and most of make sure he give us a spanking. You gonna get it right. We get Proverbs 18 and 19. These last few and wrap it up. Proverbs 18 and 19.
Proverbs 18, verse 19. A brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city.
Because, man, that's what happens. Even you can give an apology, one can forgive you, but it can be hard to work past that pain. It still needs time. Because even then, with forgiveness, it still doesn't make up for all the pain and hurt going through the situation. But it's in a place to where I still see you as a brother or sister, and I don't count you an enemy. But I'm still going to need time to work past this and still to whether it's, hey, reestablish full trust, was reestablished full, whatever it is, you know, so, but it's still, hey, we not enemies, you know, I love you, I care about you, but I was hurt by what you said, you know, and I forgive you, and we'll move forward, but still need that time to heal, you know, and we have to work on our relationship going forward, and that's it. But I'm willing to work with it and work through it, and that's it. Let's get James 5:7-9. Get the book of James, chapter 5, verse 7-9.
James 5, verse 7. Be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord.
Be patient unto the coming of the Lord. Continue to practice your patience up until the second coming of Yahushua. Read on.
Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth, and hath long patience for it, until he receive the early and latter rain.
Think about husbandry. When you plant something, it ain't just going to sprout up in the next few minutes, not even the next few hours. It takes time. And it takes cultivation. A lot of times we don't like cultivating relationships. Who complains? See, don't nobody talk to me. Well, do you talk to anybody? It's a two-way street. You got to be in a place to where you want to labor and make it work. So just remember that. These things, man, it takes time. A relationship is not a one-way street. Cars flow down both sides. It's a two-way street. You got to work it out. And you have to, you reap what you sow at the end of the day. At the end of the day, everything is what you reap what you sow. What you put in is what you're going to get out. So now the next one I want you to get is 1 John 4:20-21.
Book of 1 John chapter 4, verse 20. Mm-hmm. If a man say, I love the Most High, and hateth his brother.
Ooh, if a man say, I love God, but I got a problem. Him? Hell no. Read on.
He is a liar.
Oh, read.
For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love the Most High whom he hath not seen?
That's how the Most High does it. Look, at the end of the day, how can you love God? You ain't never even seen God, yet and still hate your brother who you see all the time, or you see more often. You say it don't work that way. Read on.
And this commandment have we from him, that he who loveth the Most High love his brother also. So
you say you love me, then you got to love them, because that's still my people. You still got to roll with them. All right, so that was that one. Get Colossians 3:13. After Colossians 3:13, I got two more. Colossians 3:13.
Book of Colossians chapter 3, verse 13. Forbearing one another and forgiving one another.
That's how you're supposed to be, forbearing and forgiving one another. Putting up with each other, putting up with the feuds, the problems, and hey, we'll work it out, we'll move on. You know, we'll get back to it, you know, but I still love you. You know, I'm still going to be in a place. I still love you. Read on.
If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Mashiach forgave you, so also do ye.
That's it. Even as Mashiach Yahushua forgave you, he said, look, so do you. Forgive them. Forgive them. Just like I said, hey, let a brother or sister borrow some money. They ain't, paid you back, been shady. Deal with it according to the law, where it's like, well, shoot. They still taking longer than what I would like. At the end of the day, I still love them. Doesn't mean you got to keep giving them money and get further in debt and they ain't paid back, but you ain't treating them like your enemy and got all these problems with them. It's like, well, look, I still love them. I would just want them to change some of them habits, so it's, I ain't going to keep giving them all that money, but, I ain't going to treat them like they my enemy. And just ain't never talk to them no more or treat them all types of foul types of ways. I just want them to change and fix those habits and deal more uprightly, so. And now the next one is, let me get Leviticus 19, I'm not going to read all of 15, 18, but we'll go back to Leviticus 19, and we're going back to 1 Corinthians. We're going to end it with 1 Corinthians. Let's get Leviticus chapter 19. Leviticus chapter 19, and we can start at verse 16.
Leviticus 19:16. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Most High.
So we don't go up just telling story. We don't go up telling rumors about our people or spreading gossip with business. Read on.
Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor, and not suffer sin upon him.
So that's one of the key things. Do not, because that hate don't just mean I'm looking at you, oh, I hate you. Hate is also when you choose not to correct. Because correction, you're supposed to correct not out of spite, but to see the betterment out of your brothers and sisters. And you're in a place to where you won't correct them to see them do better. That means you're only you're only continuing their failure. And the Most High said that is not love. You're supposed to allow them to get better. The same way you could correct when it comes down to those who you actually do correct, those closer to you because you want their betterment, same way you should do when it comes down to those in the body in which you're amongst. It's supposed to be the same way, according to the Most High. We may not like it, we may not love it, but it's a necessary evil. So we feel how we feel, but hey, I still got to get it done. Read on.
Ye shall...
18.
Verse 18, thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people.
So that's the other thing. Don't avenge yourself on your people and don't bear any grudge against your people. Work those things out. You can't partake in the Most High bearing grudges against your people. It don't work that way. You got to work those things out, iron it out. Don't continue to store, because a grudge that's all that leaven you're storing away. You're supposed to be getting rid of it. But yet and still, why do you keep putting it away for later? Get rid of it and deal with it. But if in a place to where, hey, you dealt with it and the other person is unwilling, then, hey, you exercise Matthew 18. Take witnesses unto where, hey, look, I dealt with it and still this is the case. So that others can attest to say, well, okay, well, it's not only that this person is wrong. And, hey, look, bro, or, hey, look, sis, you got to change. You can't be dealing with this. Well, that's just the way I'm going to deal with it. Okay, well, you in a scorner type spirit or you in a reprobate mindset? I mean, that's not scriptural whatsoever. To that way, that person knows, well, look, my hands are clean of this situation. That's it. You did your job. As long as you did your job, you good. As long as you right with the Most High, you tried, legitimately you tried, you good. It's when you don't try, there's problems. Read on.
Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am Yahweh.
And that's part of that love. Loving your neighbor as yourself, you're dealing with them that way. Now let's end it with 1 Corinthians chapter 11. 1 Corinthians chapter 11. Now I want to get this in context. Start with verse 17.
1 Corinthians 11:17. Now in this that I declare unto you, I praise you not, that ye come together not for the better, but for the worse.
That you don't come together for the better, but for the worse. And you're going to explain. Read.
For first of all, when ye come together in the church, I hear that there be divisions among you, and I partly believe it.
You have to fix those divisions. Whatever a household you in person, whatever camp you part of, fix those divisions, fix those problems. That's what you got to do. Read on.
For there must be also heresies among you, that they which are approved may be made manifest among you.
Got to be problems. At the end of the day, that's how you know whether or not this person's really working on themselves and actually moving righteously to go ahead and fix those problems. Read on.
When you come together, therefore, into one place, this is not to eat the Lord's Supper.
So it's not just about, we just coming together to eat. We just coming together to party. We just coming together to turn up. Read on.
For in eating, everyone taketh before other his own supper, and one is hungry and another is drunken. What?
Because it said, look, y'all turning up, y'all doing your own thing. Read on.
What? Have ye not houses to eat and to drink in? Or despise ye that the church of the Most High, and shame them that have not? What shall I say to you? Shall I praise you in this? I praise you not.
Because at the end of the day, if you just coming together for a turn up, y'all got your own house. Y'all could turn up on another day. Y'all get together any other weekend and just, turn up, drink alcohol, sip, whatever it is, crack some jokes, but it's understanding significance in what you're partaking in. That's why we're here. To get the understanding and to be on one accord and to do things righteously. That's why we're here. That's what it's about. Read on.
For I have received of the Lord that which also I delivered unto you, that the Lord Yahushua, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread.
Because that's the thing. They were keeping the Passover when he was betrayed. But how ironic it was for him to be betrayed on that day. Because Judah was supposed to be getting rid of that leaven and dealing uprightly. But yet and still he partook in the feast in its iniquity. And that's even the case with some of y'all. Fix yourself. Examine yourself. Get yourself right to be worthy to partake. Read on.
Excuse me. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, Take, eat, this is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me.
Because remember him, his sacrifice. Remember him, remember his body, everything he stood for. He stood for righteousness. That's so you do. Read on.
After the same manner also he took the cup, and when he had supped, saying, This cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as oft as ye drink it in remembrance of me.
And the blood was always to make that atonement. You always needed the blood. That was to atone to where, let me cleanse. Read on.
For as often as ye eat this bread and drink this cup, ye do show the Lord's death till he come.
The significance of his death till he come. That lamb, that sacrifice. I didn't have to do it, but I chose to do it so you have a chance to get right. So that you can make it. Read on.
Wherefore, whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the Lord unworthily.
Now we're going back to what we said initially to make more sense of it. That now whosoever shall eat this bread and drink of this cup shall partake in this feast, partake in Passover, in not being right, read.
Shall be guilty of the body and blood of the Lord.
You're going to be guilty of everything it is that it stands for. And the full significance and the weight of that, and the Most High is holding you accountable. Get right first, and then come together focused on what am I keeping and why. Not just some vain act. Not just because I wanted to be around some sisters or some brothers, or just because I wanted to get a little bit of sip, eat a little bit of food. You got a house to do that. You got other days to invite people over for that. This is about Yahushua. This is about us getting right. This is about our salvation. This is about our deliverance. Because we was righteous and we was doing the right thing. And that's still what we're looking for today. That's what it's always been about. Us getting right so that we can be saved, so we can be delivered. First and foremost from our sins, and then secondly from our present condition. Read on.
Verse
28.
28. But let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup.
Because once you examine yourself, then go ahead and partake. Read.
For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily, eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body. For this cause, many are weak and sickly among you.
It said, for this cause, because many eat and drink unworthily, that's why you got problems. That's why you're sick. That's why you got health issues. That's why you got financial, because you're partaking and you still got sin. You still got leaven when you're supposed to get out all the leaven. You still got leaven in your spirit. You think because your house or your car is good that you good. No, it's still in your spirit. So you never got it out. You're still disrespecting me. And you're still tearing from, I'll get it right next year. May not be it next year because I'm cracking the whip now. Even more. Some of y'all ain't going to make it to next year. Let the Most High tell the story. And the year after that. And the year after that. Because it's only progressive. The judgment's only going to weigh down worse to where he's swinging a sword. Don't get caught up in his blade. That's how it's happening. Read on.
And many sleep.
And many sleep. Many have died. Sleep meaning you're dead. That's just a nice way, and he slept. But he said, because of this, because many drink unworthy, bringing damnation to themselves, this called many are weak, sick, and also have died. Most High put you to death because you weren't worthy. You partook in his Yahweh Shai's sacrifice, and what he got put to death for, unworthily, now I'm going to put you to death. Because now you are worthy of that. Not discerning, not thinking, not being in the right mindset, not being locked in on what you should have been locked in, not humbling yourself. Read on.
For if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged.
But if you would stop and examine yourself and judge yourself, you wouldn't even need to be judged in this way. But because you didn't, now I got to judge you. Read on.
Wherefore, my brethren, but when we are judged, we are chastened of the Lord, that we should not be condemned with the world.
Because the goal is the Most High is trying to save you. I just want you to get right so I can save you. You ain't right, I can't save you. You got to face that judgment. Read on.
Wherefore, my brethren, when ye come together to eat, tarry one for another. And if any man hunger, let him eat at home, that ye come not together unto condemnation, and the rest will I set in order when I come.
He said, look, if you still ain't got it together, maybe you should go keep it at your house. Maybe you should stay home because you ain't right. You ain't right, don't come amongst the body. No, I don't need to bring that in. I don't need that in my body. I don't need that in my house. Because once again, all the leaven's supposed to be out, right? If you still got that leaven, don't come in, stay out. You gonna keep it on the east side. You clean, then come in. Then keep it. If not, you got a house you can go eat at. You be all right. But get right with me, and then come rejoice with me and my people. All right, so hopefully y'all got something out of that. I just wanted to finish that up, so didn't want to take too much of your time. But hopefully you learn, and that's it.